Hey everybody, welcome to the Wombo Podcast. I'm your host, Mr. Gimpy, along with the one, the only, Chip Monk. What's up, brother?
Hey, how's it going, man?
It's at the sexy podcast, boys.
I don't know, dude. You got the intro, dude. You set the tone of the whole thing.
Did
dude.
I set it to be a sex call?
Yeah, dude. You're like in smooth jazz, late night DJ voice, dude.
Oh, yeah, man. Dude. So
hottest hits.
This week was interesting. We had a really big release in the game dev world of Godot 4.4. Finally, it's out of beta, out of the shadows. It's out. People are happy. People are happy.
Is it good? Finally.
Finally. Well, yes. Yes, it is. Right. It impressed me.
I was looking at it.
I made a little platformer with it. It did impress me. So
it was looking like it should be the final, first release, dude. Like, it feels like Godot 1. Like, this is what should have been ready before they even put this out there, dude. Honestly,
you know what I feel actually is, remember when Unity, crapped the bed, and a bunch of people just funded Godot. Yeah. This, I feel, is the culmination of all of that money that went towards
it's
the project.
Year and a half later, about.
Yeah. So I feel that that's what this is, and it's probably the most polished release. I was looking on the Twitter sphere, which I'm not calling it an X sphere, it's dumb, but of developer opinions of it, and overall I think they're pretty excited. There are some bugs that introduced that I saw people reporting, some crashes, some porting not going right from the Godot 4.3 projects to 4.4. Yeah. They have and I don't know if this existed in 4.3 from 4.2, but an auto porter. So you load your old 4.3 project in 4.4, and it'll convert everything over.
Hopefully
for you.
Come over. Yeah.
For me, converting an old. There you go. I just paused the recording. My bad. But for me, converting an old Godot project to a new project worked perfectly, and then to do a 4.4 project from scratch obviously was fine. But worked for me. But can't say anything bad about it.
I'd like to see them tighten up the scripts a bit. It seems like they're trying to do too much again. They're like, oh yeah, and I know it's not them, personally. It's other people contributing, where they're like, oh, we threw in C# now. Oh, now we got Rust in here. Oh yeah, GD script. Oh, somebody else is making a visual GD script editor in case you like, Unreal.
Yeah.
It feels like the community's trying to cram all this stuff in there instead of just double down on what they got,
I think
fix that first.
I think user choice would help. Just because if you want visual scripting, go, yeah, okay, I want to choose using visual scripting. If you want GD script, I think the GD script being the default is fine. I think having a plugin marketplace they kind of do, I think that's fine. I think just there's some UI things that could be better, but overall, this is me nitpicking the engine, and I think it's in a very good state. I
think I've done that rant here before, dude.
Yeah, for sure.
Where it's hey man, just do the engine thing, do that good, instead of trying to do all this other bullshit.
Yeah.
I feel like you need to get rid of the animator, the everything else, dude, that goes into this. Just make it easy and streamlined to get stuff in there and get the game up and running. An engine should just be an engine. And that's just my opinion, man. I know every major engine has all this other stuff that they end up, all these modules and stuff they put in there, but I'm just this is whack, dude.
Well, one of the things I like about GameMaker is that their internal sprite editor, and you can just quick edit sprites, make animations. Some people have made full games using just that. So I think what you're saying is true, but I think when GameMaker did it having me not open another program to edit assets really quick when I realize something's wrong was nice. I don't use it to create things from scratch, but I do use it to edit. So I think that increased my workflow, and I don't think it was a bad thing for them to focus on it and implement it. And using other engines that don't have it, I end up missing that from GameMaker.
Nah, man, I don't like just pop open the other program, get it rocking and rolling, dude.
Sure.
I don't know.
Sure.
It's because like they never do like a great job. They do like a serviceable job at like those tools.
Sure.
And it's like you said, if you need to make like a quick edit or something, but it leads you down like the garden path of like, all right, now I gotta learn this other like tool inside of a tool to make a thing, instead of just being like a streamlined way of like getting art and assets into the engine that like helps with various, software suits instead,
I remember years past, before Unreal became what it is now, when they had the linking with like Maya, where you could just
Yeah.
edit directly in Maya and it would just auto port into Unreal. I don't know if they still have that. I haven't, dabbled in that space since like 2004. So I
Yeah.
don't know if that's still a thing. I assume it is.
They got all kinds of linking now, dude. They got like
Someone
Substance
more
Painter,
versed knows
live
more.
links. They got
Okay.
3D modeling live links like in Unity for Blender now, so you can just
Sure.
like change a model, save it, and then the changes reflect in the real time in the engine. There's a lot of like little quality of life live linking things that just work, dude. They're like not great, but it's like you said, like instead of like cracking open and starting up like a different program, it's like you just kind of have both programs running and move between them. But
Yeah.
ideally, like if you're on like any sort of team, like everyone's just doing their own thing in their own like realms, and you want a thing that just makes it easy to pull everything together.
Sure. Sure.
I don't know, man. What don't you like about the Godot engine aside from like what you've been hearing? Is it good? You liking it? You hating it?
I'm liking it, but for me, and focusing purely on 2D development right now, there's no
Yeah,
reason for me to switch, and that's not a bad thing. It's
sure.
just because I'm stuck in my ways.
Yeah, man. I was telling you about that the other day about Unity, where I'm like, I kind of like Godot. I like this like 4.4 release. This seems like again like version 1 seems to hit all the things that I've wanted for a while. And I'm just like, I've kind of got Unity. I got all this bullshit over here. I got asset packs. Like,
Yeah.
I'm quick in it. I'm fast. I'm agile. Developing like prototypes and stuff for like, I don't know. It's like I start messing with blockbench instead for like.
Yeah.
I still like learning new software and new things, but a whole new engine. Just I don't know. I'd rather pick up like weird, obscure engines. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm like,
Your
oh,
next
this guy
project
made a
into
thing.
Fold.
Yeah, dude.
For
It's
sure.
like, what was the one this dude was making? What was that? The Cave Engine. I was messing around with Cave Engine. I was like, all right, this is all right. This is like a C sharp, easy 3D thing. There's one that's like a boomer shooter one. It's like USFPF or something like that. I don't know. It's like on itch.
Okay.
And it's uses like a tile set editor. It's almost for like making Doom boomer shooter style games. I was looking at that. I was like, oh, maybe I should learn this thing. But,
Yeah. Yeah.
so I don't know. It's like, I'd rather like learn something weird and obscure than like mainstream. I don't know if what that says about me.
It says a lot about you, actually.
Yeah, it's like the hipster of game engines. I'm like, if I use little JS, then what you guys are using.
Godot, yeah.
Are you using Phaser?
Do you think
Playground JS, dude? What? Get
yeah,
out of here.
as I said to you outside of the pod, I think that when we do our team up, that Godot may be the engine to use. Just 'cause I think
I might have to like get in there, dude.
Nicest middle ground for us.
Yeah, it hits everything, really.
Yeah. So I look forward to it. I'm happy with the Godot release. Making game dev easier, more feature complete is just good for all of us. And I like the fact that a lot of game dev has not devolved into tribalism, where
dude, you haven't been on the internet long,
well,
bro.
no. I was gonna say for the most part, because most of the level-headed devs that I follow, that I've interacted with on our game dev subreddit and stuff, it's like, what are you using? Oh, okay, cool. So no one's like, oh, why are you using that trash? Use this instead.
Yeah.
It's like okay, you chose that, cool. What are you doing? What's up? And it's been more positive than in years past. I remember back in the early aughts, the mid to late 90s, when I first got into game dev, when there was the camps of Click and Create, Click Team Fusion, which was just the evolution, the original GameMaker, and there's tribalism between that. Yep. And what was the There's a
Flash was out there.
well, yeah, you can use Flash to make games as well with ActionScript and all that, and then they had the exe exporter and stuff. So
Yeah.
it was very tribalistic back then, and for myself as like a burgeoning young game dev at like 8, 9, 10, it was just like, which one do I pick? My favorite from back then was Click and Create.
Sure.
Or click and play is the one that I actually, which is like an evolution of it, but click and play was the very first engine I've ever used that I made anything. And I followed a tutorial for like a game where you had like a blanket or whatever, like a trampoline that you were using, and I used imported assets for like as like a clown. So you're like catching clowns that were falling from a building and like
Save
bouncing
the
them up
clown,
to
dude.
safety, and taught me
The
quite a
classic
bit.
storytelling trope, dude.
So from like 8, 9, 10, whenever I was, till now, I had the game making bug. I learned about sine wave movement,
Yeah.
stuff like that. I learned about gravity and
Oh,
and impulse forces, things like that at that age, right? So then looking at
yeah.
the games that we played on console back then, I'm like, okay, how'd they do this? And had more of a creative mind sphere. And then growing up, messed with dark basic, 3D blitz,
Yeah, dude. Had a
dark
book on
basic.
Dark Basic.
Dark basic. I got pretty far in. I made a
Heck
little
yeah, dude.
shooter with it, and couldn't tell you like what was good about it or how it was. But
Yeah.
it was a thing. But I think at this day and age, right now, there's never been a better time to get into this. So
All
shout
right,
out to
man. What would
Godot
you recommend
contributors.
for a young child's out there right now? Because I feel like now they're spoiled for choice,
They are,
and it
They are.
doesn't feel like as much tribalism.
Yeah.
But there's so many good options. We said it before on this podcast where it's like you can end up looking for a magical tool
Yep.
that's going to do things for you. It doesn't exist. Like that's there are things that are better, and there are things that are like faster. But if you know kind of what you want to make and how you're going to make it, like
Yep.
I don't know, I'd still like lead kids down to like Construct 3. I'd be like, try this out, children. Maybe
Yeah.
G develop if like
Scratch has been really popular with the younger crowd too. So
yeah,
sure.
no, like Scratch is all right, but
Yeah.
to me, you need like that little extra, dude. That little like the visual aspect of like seeing how things are going. They're just like a little bit more versatile and like the time to get things up and running. Where if you can just be like, oh, this is like a platform behavior, this is like a character behavior in Construct 3, and you just like click, and like you get that instant reward, and you're like, oh, okay. Like you don't necessarily need to know about like inputs and that part of coding, which is it's good to know, it's good to learn. But like I don't know, like how many character controller scripts are you really gonna be making over and over again? It's like you figure it out like once or twice. And you're like, I get it.
Yeah. GameMaker, I saved both of my control scripts. So like top down for side scroller, saved both, and then I have that RPG clicking one I made, and then
Hey, you're working on that platformer one, do you? Kind of got a platformer one now.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
So
I don't know.
You're right on that.
But like, maybe Scratch, Construct 3. I don't know if I could recommend Unity anymore, just because like there's so much uncertainty with it. Like I know like they broke off like the Unity whatever 6 or 2000 plus version. That's questionable, and then they're like, oh, we're not going to change terms anymore on anything when you get that version. Like that's going to be the terms for that version moving forward until we release a new thing.
Yeah.
We'll alter the deal, but pray we don't alter it any further. Godot also, like, I don't know, there was like weird political tribalism in there with like they had like a off the rails community manager was just like ban hammering people, and the person who makes the engine is like one of the lead guys. He like split off to do his own thing where he's taking money from the foundation to do like the ports to other systems. So it's like, oh, it doesn't do Nintendo ports, but if you pay my company, I can do it for an undisclosed amount of money. And it's like, all right, dude. And I'm not saying like you shouldn't be getting paid for your work or what you do, but it's a little shady, just a little bit.
There's multiple companies that will port your Godot game to different platforms, and it's because of the open source license that it has. You can't have the license for porting to consoles without it being just contradictory to the Godot
Yeah,
license.
and you need
So
like
I understand that. But
you need like checks and balances too. Like I know like when
Sure.
I got like a Xbox developer license,
Mhm.
I had to like contact Unity and be like, hey, blah blah blah, and then
Yeah.
like they like all right, here you go, just do this type of build, and then like contacted like Xbox and they're like, oh yeah, just blah blah blah, use this and this, and I'm like, all right, cool. But it wasn't like as easy as like I flipped a switch and now I have like export to Xbox, series on there.
Yeah.
So there's definitely, even like on known engines, there's still hoops, and it's not easy to, get those ports out.
I mean, GameMaker, it's just a button. After you have that
Yeah,
license,
like
so that's nice.
for the main stuff. Yeah, if
Yeah.
you have the licenses, but yeah,
Yeah.
as
far as what I'd recommend, I Construct 3, like I definitely learned my most using Construct 2, right? That was
that's what I'm saying, bro.
my thing. Right now, I think like Construct 3 would be fine, I think, but I think you're going to get more mileage. And if you're teaching, like, let's say you're teaching a high school class, right?
Yeah,
I think that Godot being open source and from an educator standpoint, you could just use it if you have for an extracurricular or maybe an after school program to make a game. I think that at this point it's streamlined enough to do. They used to have Unity for educators. I don't know if they still have that, but that also was pretty streamlined, to be honest. GameMaker's student license that they used to have, I'm not sure if they still do. That one, I think, you have the visual scripting language, you have everything. I think that could work as well. But I think if you want to do anything to teach, you want something with the most tutorials. You want something with the most you can can do a lesson plan around, and you want the most modern tutorials. And I think Godot may be it.
all right.
Just because the community's so excited for it that everything is keeping up with the versions. I can't tell you how often I've looked at like a Unity tutorial and have it be like 4 versions behind. Looking up a GameMaker Studio 2 tutorial and having it be at GameMaker Studio 1.8 or whatever. So it's nice to have just the structure of it. So
here's my knock against it: is that nobody's hiring for Godot.
Yes. Yeah.
Like so.
But I meant more for concepts of game making, and you could take those tools and use it to other engines.
That's why I'm like thinking maybe Construct 3 or even Unity, because like Construct 3 uses like JavaScript on the back end. You can get like deeper into like things there, and then Unity uses C#. If you had like a bunch of kids with like
uses C# as well, you can just use that.
Yeah. So like so for like you're teaching them with like C# instead of like GD script. C with Unreal. The drawback to Unreal is like you gotta have like almost a god tier computer to run it, but I think the high schoolers would probably love that more than anything else, just because of Fortnite, and they have like a verse script they're trying to come out with now, and they have like ways to like port games directly into Fortnite for sharing with like their friends and stuff. And I know it's the Fortnite's big with the kids still, right? So I don't know, there's that. Or like you could even go like Roblox, like something that like
there's actually classes. I have a cousin who's in high school now, and there's a extracurricular class for making a game in Roblox. So
yeah, man, it's big. Kids want their like whatever, their V-Bucks and their Roblox coins or whatever, dude.
Yep.
So yeah, I think like if you have like some sort of reward or something, but I think like the bigger fundamentals are more important, like project management, learning scripting, and then like you said, those bigger concepts in game making, like impulses or triggers or bools or
delta time, lerping, stuff like that, like things that like we take for granted now, but like you have to admit, when learning it, you had no idea you had to learn the concepts behind it. So yeah, for sure. Arrays, structs, stuff like that, where we use all the time now, but you had to learn how to use them before. And I know for me, like before I visualized an array, I found it I found it difficult to grasp before diving
figuring it out, man.
Exactly. But to like shift a little bit to what we were working on, congrats to yourself for the snowplow prototype you shared with me.
Yeah,
a little GIF of that will be on X today.
Dang. All right.
And I just want to get a quick overview because you tried out Blockbench. We could give us a little rundown of what Blockbench is, what prompted you to try it, and your thoughts.
I don't know. I just found I was looking at low poly 3D modeling. I tried it out because it looked like it had better, texturing than Blender. Like it's built in. It kind of it was a marriage between almost Trench Broom and Blender.
Yeah,
which is kind of what I want. It's not as smooth or intuitive as Trench Broom, which I wish it had more of. It does feel like you're fighting a little bit against the program. I like just the texturing part of it though, because you can make these low poly, very sprite based models. I don't like their animation system. I don't know. It seems like it's mostly made for Minecraft stuff as well. Like if you're making things for Minecraft, mods for Minecraft. So I don't know. There's a few tutorials out there. It's hard to tell if things were sponsored content. I was looking at this thing that was whatever. It was an animation program, and then I looked up people and almost everybody's putting out the exact same video around the same time with different promo codes. And so I don't know, Blockbench kind of felt similar where it was 3 or 4 years ago, there's all these tutorials and stuff for it and people are hyping it up. And then recently it's nobody's, still doing that, but it's how much do you really have to teach? But I don't know, look at Blender. There's always new tutorials and new things that people are doing and finding new ways. And, but yeah, Blockbench was all right. I enjoyed it. It was easy. I probably will stick with Blender. It's just, I don't know. All the things that you can do in there, you can do in Blender and a little bit faster than in there. Yeah.
Got it. Would you recommend for a beginner to use Blender or Blockbench? Do you think that
probably
things you learned
Trench
in
Broom,
Blockbench
dude?
Oh no, I meant for can you use Trench Broom? Trench Broom was more for level design, right? Could you?
It's just a program, bro.
Could you use it to make models and stuff?
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Absolutely. You can export things as a OBJ.
Okay.
Yeah. If you wanted speed, low poly modeling, probably use Trench Broom.
Okay.
Honestly.
Okay.
It's probably the most controversial thing we'll say here today.
Yeah, right. Well, because you still have to if you make a character in Trench Broom, you still have to rig it elsewhere.
Yeah. So you're gonna put it out to Blender. Even like Blockbench though, it's the way it's doing animations. It's making JSON files or whatever for Minecraft. And then there's no bone system. There's no IK system. So either way,
the JSON file will link it to the Minecraft skeletal system. I'm guessing if
or whatever. I think it's just literally coordinates for objects in space. Kind of like how bones work, but you're attaching things to it.
Sure.
And it's fine. If you're not doing anything too complicated, it's okay.
Yeah.
But if you actually want to make various animations and put them against an array of different characters, then you just don't want to use Blender or mostly Blender. Yeah.
Sure.
Unless you have Maya or whatever else. 3ds out.
Now to just kind of end the pod here and max out our time. I'll say you going back to Unity, and you pushed really 2 projects to me personally in our Discord chats. How did you feel getting back to it, and did this inspire you to go into it further, or will you be still pursuing different scripts, different engines?
Yeah, I'm still just doing different things, man. Just enjoying it, dude. I know I've been drawing more. I've been, thinking more, been writing down more ideas. I'm just getting back into more of just the general love of creativity and trying to do that every day without any sort of big goal in mind. Where it's just, I'm enjoying the hobby more. It's I've learned all these skills, and now it's whenever something comes to me, I'm I'm going to sit down and do this real quick.
Yeah.
And I don't know, even the snowplow game, I haven't made any levels, but I sat down in an Excel spreadsheet while I was watching stuff on YouTube, and I just designed the levels on a grid paper, basically.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was just like, all right, kind of, what do I have here? What am I trying to do? And I'm like, all right, you're essentially just making tracks. And then I just sat down and I was like, all right, what's the limiting thing here? And I'm like, you can do like a 4x6 grid, basically. That's what can fit on like a single screen, and then just make tracks with that with the pieces you have.
Nice.
And so, I just sat down and did that. It's nothing too crazy about it. I don't know. It's I like the idea of like working on something else. I know the professor's been talking about stuff. He said he's been getting hyped up, but if we made a GitHub page, that was about as far as we've gotten.
There it is.
I sent him like
Step
that demo of that game. We talked a little bit about last week. Nothing too crazy though. Just enjoying the love of creating things for the sake of creating it. Nothing too deep going on.
Yeah, man. I think as hobbyists with lofty goals, it's a great time. It's a great time to be in the hobby. And for those of you who maybe have not delved into trying it out, it's a good time to try it out.
Don't do it, dude. It's kind of bullshit.
It's so frustrating.
We eat up all your time, dude.
For sure. But with that said, man, this has been the Wombo Podcast. I'm Mr. Gimpy. That's
Chipmunk.
Like, share, subscribe. We're at Wombo Pod on X. Check us out. Take care. We out.
Peace.